So I want to talk a little more about Abraham here in the Tanakh in the Old Testament. Abraham's an interesting character, and it's not really for what he's known for exactly, which is, if you search Abraham online, you'll pretty quickly go to the sacrifice attempt made on his son Isaac. And everybody knows that God came to Abraham, who didn't have a child for the first 75 years of his life. And Isaac was born to Sarah, and it was the miracle in Abraham's life. And then God said, you need to take him up on the mountain nearby, which today is the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, supposedly. And he was to build an altar and sacrifice Isaac and make a burnt offering of him for God. And Abraham was obedient. Now, people think that this is just a good way to show that obedience to God, even blind obedience, is important, because in the end, everything will be okay. But if you look at it from Abraham's perspective, it's not so clear-cut, because, some people say, well, this is God's way of telling people there shouldn't be any more human sacrifices, and there were human sacrifices being made around the year 2000, about 500 years before Moses came along. But Abraham was singled out by God to make a covenant. And Abraham was told that all of his future generations and relatives would be multiplied more than the stars in the sky and the sand on the beach. Fearing that he would have no son, his wife Sarah had her Egyptian servant Hagar serve as a concubine to Abraham. He slept with her, and she had a son they named Ishmael. Ishmael grew up to between 13 and 14 years old, and about that time, Sarah actually miraculously became pregnant and had Isaac. She was very jealous of the attention that Ishmael would have, because everybody thought that Ishmael was going to have the birthright to all of Abraham's lands and wealth, and she wanted her son Isaac to have it all. So she prevailed upon Abraham to get rid of Hagar. And it says reluctantly, Abraham woke one morning, told Hagar, you got to go, gave her a container of water and some food, strapped it on her back, and she took her son hand in hand, and they walked out into the desert wilderness, most likely to die, which is a very sinful way for Abraham to conduct himself, as well as Sarah. And as fate would have it, supposedly the angels listened to Hagar, and when she was about to die of thirst, she placed her son in shade away from her, so she didn't have to watch him die. And along came an angel and told her that there was a well nearby where she could get water. And she saved her life, and she saved Ishmael's life. Is it possible that when Abraham went up on that hill to sacrifice Isaac, he thought that God was punishing him for sending Hagar out to what he probably figured to die with Ishmael in the wilderness? Was it guilt? It's very interesting, because 3 different world religions see Abraham differently.